Hello. Let me see, how do I start this off? Futurama. It was the brainchild of Matt Groening and David Cohen. They originally had this idea to start an animated series about a guy living in the year 3000. You know, all the sci-fi craziness that they had grown up in the 80s, 60s, and 70s, and so on. And so they had this crazy idea. And they wanted to more or less just share it with the world. When they first came up with the idea for the show, they didn't really know what to call it at first. Their first few ideas were Aloha Mars and Doomsville, but it wasn't necessarily as catchy, or wasn't going to bring in the crowds that they wanted. So, after a while, and after a long time of thinking, they decided to go with Futurama. They got the idea of Futurama from the General Motors World Fair exhibit in 1939. It was more or less concentrated on the world of tomorrow, and the exhibit's name, of course, was Futurama. After Matt Groening pitched his idea of this hypothetical show in the year 3000 to Fox, they originally kind of liked the idea, but they thought it was a bit strange. But nonetheless, they did go along with it. They originally scheduled the show to have 3 seasons, and once they hit their 3rd season, they thought, you know what, we'll give you one more season. And this is when they did. But around the end of their 4th season, the show was canceled because it didn't have that many viewers or that many fans. But after a while, Adult Swim, you know, that little subcategory of Cartoon Network, they picked up Futurama and started to show reruns of the show. And that's where actually Futurama got a lot of its fans from. Was that just the reruns shown on Adult Swim. After more fans started to join the show and they started to sell more merchandise, they thought, you know what, Futurama was so great as it was, there should be more of it. So, after hearing the demands of all the people, they decided to release the technical 5th season of Futurama, which were 4 straight-to-DVD movies. That contained these straight-to-DVD movies contained roughly 4 or 5 episodes each, and each of them had a overarching story to it, and each of them was a continuation after the next. The very ending of the last straight-to-DVD movie, called Into the Wild Green Yonder, was left on a cliffhanger, and this cliffhanger immediately led to the 7th season, many years later. So, this of course kicked off the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and finally the 10th season of Futurama, which I think aired or finished production last year. Sad face. But overall, I can guarantee that Futurama gave me countless hours of pure happiness. Whenever I was sad, I would watch Futurama because it made me happy. It perked up my day. And I'm pretty sure my sister probably got pretty annoyed with me watching reruns of it over and over and over again, but after a while she started to like it too. Well, that's why she's a current fan as well. She was also pretty sad when it finally ended, but you know, it ended on a good note, and that's all we could really hope for. The series follows the late Philip J. Fry, a pizza delivery boy from the year 1999. Or I guess technically the year 2000, since that was the very last moment that he was in when he was still there. On his very last pizza delivery, he was sent to the cryogenic slab. Unfortunately, it was a crank call. When he read who the pizza was supposed to go to, he read the following: I.C. Wiener. Having much dissatisfaction with his life, seeing as how his boss treated him poorly, his girlfriend kicked him to the curb, and how, literally as he was walking into the cryogenic slab, some guy stole his bike. He was pretty fed up with it. So, his last few moments in the year 2000, he blew his little noisemaker, sarcastically of course. It hit him, and then he fell backward into the freezer tube, where it automatically closed behind him and set the timer for 1,000 years. After much time passed, he woke up in the year 3000, greeted to a voice more or less that went, "Welcome to the world of tomorrow," which is sort of a callback to the World's Fair. the world of tomorrow and all. The first person to properly greet Philip J. Fry after he, I guess, came out of the freezer tube and after the Welcome to the World of Tomorrow was a Miss Taranga Leela. At first appearance, she seems normal. I mean, purple hair aside, she seems normal. But once she turns around, you can see, holy cow, this girl has one eye. Kinda strange, but alright. When he asks what's up with the eye, she says that she's an alien from outer space. But as we find out later in the series, oh wait, spoilers! She's a mutant! But nobody really knew that till a lot later in the show. But at the current moment, after Philip J. Fry stepped out of the freezer, Taranga Leela pretty much did a couple tests on him to see what all he was good at, and so on. And as it turns out, Fry wanted to get away from his dead-end job as a pizza delivery boy. So, it turns out the only thing he was good at is being a delivery boy. So his career chip that everybody now has was assigned to a delivery boy, and that's the only job he was able to get. Wanting to escape this fate, he more or less kicked Leela into the freezer tube. It was going to be set for 1,000 years, but seeing as how he has a conscience, he set it for 10-15 minutes. And he ran away. On the streets of New York, Fry runs into his soon-to-be best friend Bender. Bender, at the time, is, I guess, fed up with his life too, and decided to go to the nearest suicide booth. Fry, having no knowledge of what a suicide booth was, he thought it was just a regular phone booth. And so when he stepped into it, he's like, "I'd like to make a collect call, please." And Bender steps in, he's like, "Hey buddy, you want to make it a twofer?" At that moment, he slips in a coin, pulls it back out with the string attached to his finger, and all of a sudden these array of weapons pop out of the machine to try and kill them. Fry understandably flips out, and as he gets out, he realizes that people are still, looking for him. So he and Bender decide to hide in the Hall of Heads. While at the Hall of Heads, they try to elude Leela as she still follows them. And once they escape, they find their way into the tunnels of what used to be the old New York. After a better half of some soul searching, Fry decides that he can't escape being a delivery boy and that it's what he needs to do. So, as he holds his hand out, ready to get his career chip installed, Leela takes out hers because she realizes she's sick of her job as well. So, all three of them, they hate their jobs. They want to do something else. So they go to the only person that they can actually go to. Fry's only living relative, Professor Hubert J. Farnsworth. The professor is borderline insane. Oh, my bad. What I meant to say was, he's a borderline insane scientist with a tendency to make doomsday devices and, of course, deliver good news to everyone. At the end of the episode, the professor decides to give them a job as his new delivery crew. And Fry is, well, ironically happy to be a delivery boy again. And that's where the show kicks off. After this, we are met with an array of crazy characters, like Hermes Conrad, the Planet Express crew. Oh, sorry, my bad. Hermes Conrad, who is a bureaucrat slash accountant. That's what he was. And along with Hermes Conrad, you also have Dr. John Zoidberg, a lobster man from space who's a doctor who specializes in human anatomy. Don't go to the doctor. He'll probably kill you. You also have other characters such as Amy Wong, Zap Brannigan, Kif Kroker, Nibbler, and the list can really go on for quite a while. All these characters are very important to the show. They give it character. But truthfully, there is so much stuff I could tell you about Futurama. All you really need to know is it's a good quality show that you are definitely going to enjoy if you give it a shot. So please, take my advice to heart. Try it out. Well, I hope you enjoy. Sorry for all the stammerings and pauses and stuff. Have a good day.